Welcome everybody to our September Meet the Teen. Pardon me. I'm excited for it to be fall and new beginnings and getting back into the swing of things. But I'm even more excited about our topics today. So we're going to get right into it. So for those of you joining us, just to give you an idea of what to expect, what the agenda is for today. We are going to be talking about celebrations today. So mother blessings, what those are and where do those come from? Zainab, would you say that properly so that I don't butcher?
Yeah, so it's Akika. Yeah, it's a letter from the throat, but you can just say Akika. That's fine.
Okay, well, thank you. Akika, which I'm really excited about learning today as well. And then we have baby shower. I believe we have regular baby showers that we're kind of used to, but we'll learn a little bit more about how to make those super fun. We will have a question and answer period where you can ask any questions you want. So it's not just about our topic today. It can be any questions that you have about pregnancy, birth, postpartum. You have a bunch of experts here at your disposal. So feel free to use that. And then the most fun part is the breakout rooms where we will do a little bit of doula speed dating and you'll get a chance to meet some of the members of our team. So that's what's in store today. So our first presenter is postpartum doula on our team, Jackie Monroe. So Jackie likes exploring new adventure walks or bike rides with her family and likes to play Zentangle, a fancy way to doodle, very relaxing. I don't know anything about that. Zentangle, super fun. And her favorite quote is, "People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." That's lovely. Well, Jackie, take it away and tell us all about mother blessings.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jackie. I'm a postpartum doula with Helping Hands Doula. It's very interesting. I know that's my favorite quote, but it goes hand in hand with what mother blessings are and all about how they make you feel. So that's very fitting for what mother blessings are. So I will be talking to you about what mother blessings are. I heard of them 8 years ago, and in that time, I've done about 10. So I've had a bit of experience doing them. And as I go through it, just know that they can be done any which way. There's no right or wrong way. It's just it's about supporting the woman or the parent to be in their journey. And I'll go more into that. Thank you. So what is a mother blessing? Mother blessings are very intimate time spent with the mom's closest friends and family to support her, empower her, and empower her with love and positive energies as she embarks on this new journey to parenthood. So as you're going to say, is done through activities. So are done throughout. So the mother blessing, which shows support and love for the new parent. So these are activities that are really intimate conversations that are had and activities that are done. They're not games like pin the pacifier on the baby or things like that. I'll go into it a little bit. So they're really things that really empower the mom or the parent to embark on this journey that's coming. Parenthood often has a lot of fear and anxiety and stresses and worries. And I find not a lot of time is spent on talking about these things. A lot of time is spent on baby and logistics and things like that. So this is a really nice time to zone in on those things. So there's no set way to do a mother blessing. There's a lot of information on Google, YouTube. Some people do belly casting. Some make, flower crowns for their mom to be. There's no set way. The way that I'm going to show you today is just the way that I have done it. But again, you can mix and match and do whatever really you want. They can also be done online. I have done 2 online this year because of COVID. They did work. I'd say in person is definitely better if you can, if the circumstances permit. But doing it online is better than not doing anything at all. It's a wonderful way to show support and just to have a wonderful experience with the mom to be. Before I continue, I just want to note that throughout this presentation, I'm using the word mom or mother, but this can be done for the dad to be or the parents to be. You could combine them in however which way you want. It can really be done, as I said, any way that you want. The purpose is just to support the parents, mom to be on their journey. So again, you can take what you need and just adapt it to your situation. So the difference between a mother blessing and baby shower, as I said, mother blessings are all about the mom, and baby showers, which we'll talk about later, are all about the baby. So it's a really good way to differentiate, oh, what are they? Should I have both? Should I have one? You can definitely have both. It's not something you need to choose between. Mother blessings are just completely different. There's no presents involved. It's just different, and you'll see as we talk about it more. So where do mother blessings come from? So as I said, I learned about these 10 years ago. My sister had one, and I really loved the idea of it. So I asked the facilitator, which is one of her friends, if I could have her information, and she happily gave it to me. And in there, it said that the mother blessings come from a healing ceremony called the Blessing Way. It's a First Nations Navajo community sacred celebration. So I didn't see a lot of information about it in this information that I got from her. So I looked through some books and some articles to figure out, where did this really come from? Also, in researching online, I found that other people that do mother blessings, sometimes they call them a blessing way. In there, they'll say, oh, this comes from a tradition from the First Nations Navajo community. But I couldn't see any documentation that supported that. So I really wanted to look into it and see, where did it come from? And still, I couldn't find any concrete information that mother blessings definitely come from the Blessing Way, but I researched what the Blessing Way is, and I can see some similarities, but they're by no means a First Nations Navajo tradition at all. They're completely different. But so the Blessing Way is a healing ceremony. It's not meant to cure sickness, but it's meant to bring blessings and prevent bad luck. So they generally last for a few days. They involve both the men and the women, and perhaps the children too. I'm not 100% sure, but it's not just a woman-focused ceremony. And they're used for big life events. So sending a loved one away to work or war, securing needed objects such as a house or a car. I then found that a shorter version of the Blessing Way was created for pregnant women, and its purpose was to increase positive thoughts and ensure that things go well during childbirth. So the same theme, to bring blessings and to prevent bad luck. So I feel like along the way, Westerners have seen, this theme and thought it was really lovely, and they've taken it and adapted it, and then they've made mother blessings. I did also read that it's a no-go to call them a Blessing Way, because it seems like the Westerners are trying to mimic or imitate a First Nations tradition, and that's really disrespectful to do. So definitely a mother blessing is like the Western tradition, and Blessing Way is the First Nations tradition. Okay, so when I do mother blessing, I like to really introduce or just make an introduction. Thank everybody for coming, set some boundaries. This is a time where a lot of intimate stories are shared. So I just ask that everyone respects everyone's privacy and keeps whatever shared in the circle. Also asks that, sorry, I got distracted, that everyone keep their phones off, or not off, just try to look at them as less as possible, just to keep everyone focused and present. So just kind of stating some boundaries, saying that we're going to be sharing some activities tonight, and then just kind of giving a quick rundown. Sorry, the slideshow stopped on my end.
It did. I'm just running tech issues and support.
Okay. Okay, no problem. I can keep going. Just have to make sure that it's not just on my end, that's on your end too. So I can just keep chatting. So just do a general introduction, and then we like to introduce the circle. So everyone says their name, and we introduce each other by our maternal lineage. So by our maiden names and our mother's maiden names and our mother's maiden names. And we do this to pay tribute to the women who have mothered us and to honor the timelessness of birth and motherhood. So you can also use other women that played a really important part in your life. It's just a nice reminder that all these women before us have done the same, have gone through labor and childbirth. And then like to share a really nice, I forgot to put it on the slide, but I then like to share your most favorite memory of your own childbirth, or a nice image that you have or memory you have of somebody else's birth. And it's a really nice way to get some positive energies flowing throughout the mother blessing. Then we go into how we know the mom to be, what drew you to her and what you appreciate about her. And this is really, really uplifting for the mom to be, because how often do you get to hear those stories about, oh, when did you meet your friend from grade 7, or your, someone that may be in your life in the last 2 years, how you met them and what drew you to her. And we don't often have these conversations, and it's a really nice way to lift up the mom to be and just fill her with tons of love and energy to get her ready for these next days that are coming. I'd also add when to do a mother blessing is something I didn't put in the slideshow, but I usually try to do them between 2 and 4 weeks before the due date. And so far, I've always been lucky enough to get them in before baby has come, but they can also be done after baby has come. It's still a nice thing to do. Okay, next. Next, we do a candle lighting ceremony. And this is a really nice thing that really unites everybody that's there. So what I do is I just grab some candles from the dollar store. I do nothing really fancy, so I don't spend a ton of money. This is more just about support and being there for each other and for the person going through this transition. And so I just get a candle. I get a rainbow of colors, and I have a list of what all the colors mean. And they're just taken from, general colors, like red is for love, vitality, and luck. I have this one, pink is for love, romance, friendship, and happiness. So everyone gets, I try to get different colors if I can, or if I'm doing it online, I just tell everyone to bring their own candle, and then I'll tell everybody what the meaning is. And then I write it with Sharpie and I just write it on the glass, because I find people often forget. And what we do is we light the candles and we just say what the meaning is. And it's really nice to have everyone has a lit candle, and it has just all this positive energy of all these, positive words with all these colors. And the thought process is that when mom to be goes into labor, everybody gets out their candle and everyone thinks of the mom in labor and thinks of all of the things that are on their candle to send her positive energy in that way. And it's a really nice way that everyone can be doing the same thing together. Next is the mom to be says her ideal birth story. So in these mother blessings, I do ask people to do homework. For the mom, I ask her to write out her ideal birth story and to write out her fears. And for the attendees, I get them to do everything else. And in saying that, some people just really don't have time to do the homework, and that's okay. I always say the most important thing is to show up. You can make up this stuff on the whim, most of it. And if there's one thing that you may not be able to do on the whim, and that's okay. The most important thing is just to be there. But for how if I can get the attendees to write down how they knew the mom and what drew them to her, I put everything together in a folder or in a box so that she has it, and then she can read it whenever she may not be feeling very good, or she may be reading it if it's the long pre-labor, then it's just something nice to go through and reread and make you feel nice and fuzzy inside. So back to the ideal birth story, I get the mom to write it down. And I ask all the attendees to close their eyes and to envision her story and how she wants her day to be. It could be very detailed, or it could be very general, however the mom wants to present it. Sometimes I read it, sometimes it's hard for the mom to read it, or they just want to hear it themselves and visualize it themselves. And the idea is when you light your candle that you envision the mom's birth story happening as she wants it. So it's really nice to get everybody on the same page for what mom to be and the parents want for their birth story. The next thing is the burning of fears. As I said, I ask the mom to be to write down her fears on strips of pieces of paper. And if we have a fireplace or a fire pit, I'll get the mom to read them out loud, and then we'll burn them. And if we can't burn them, we'll just rip them up in tiny pieces of paper. And this is a really I find an important time for the moms to be able to acknowledge their fear. And the symbol of ripping it up and getting rid of it is a symbol that they are in control of that fear. And I find it's always a really powerful time, because I say that this is a time where, you know, the mom can acknowledge her fears. It's not a time for us to fix them. It's a time for us to hear them. So I'm not saying, oh, it's okay, you'll be a great mom, or, oh, it's okay, you'll figure it out. It's not about fixing it or telling her she'll be okay. She knows she's going to be okay, but the fears still exist and they're still real. So it's a really nice time to just have them said, have them be heard, have everyone hear them, and rip them up to symbolize she is in control of them, and then move on. So presentation of quotes, poems, and passages. I ask everyone to bring a quote or a poem or a song, anything that relates to motherhood or women, or anything that they think might be relevant for the mom-to-be. And this is the one part that has homework, and I try to get them printed out. So again, the mom can have them for future. This is also a really, really nice part of the ceremony or part of the evening. Next is a water wish. I ask everyone to come prepared with one word that they wish for the moms-to-be's labor. So a glass of water is passed around. If we're doing it online, everyone just has a glass of water and we just symbolize it. And water has been said to carry vibrations of our thoughts and feelings. So the idea is for everyone to say a word with the glass of water and pass it around. And at the end, the mom drinks it, and said to then drink all of these positive vibrations from all these words. So it's a nice way to send positive energies of what you wish for the mom's labor. Letter to baby. So this, I ask people to write a letter to baby and to include lots of nice things about the mom. This is not something I read at the mother blessing. I just take them, collect them, and then I keep them in that little box or folder for the mom to read at a later time when she wishes. So it could be at a time after baby is born and you're experiencing baby blues. It could be during labor. It could be right when she gets home, but it's just something that she has control over and when she wants to read them. And the last activity we do is the string weaving web ritual. And this is a bit hard to explain, but this is, I will explain in a moment, but it is a tangible way. So everyone leaves with something tangible to remember the night and all the positive energies created and the really intimate time that we've had. So I get a ball of red yarn, and I'll wrap it around my wrist, and I'll pass it to the next person. They'll wrap it around their wrist, and so on. So we are all then connected with this web of red wool. And that wool is said to symbolize the connection between the mom and her baby, but also the connectedness between each one of us to the mom. We then cut it. So I wrap it around a couple of times to give it extra wool and tie it off into a bracelet. And I ask that everyone wears a bracelet until the mom has had her baby. So every time that everyone sees that red piece of yarn on their wrist, some people put on their ankles, or some people, you know, make little chain, like crochet chains to make it look pretty. I just tie a knot. And it's a nice way. You always, you remember them when you're washing your hands. You're like, oh, I wonder how so-and-so is feeling. I hope she's feeling okay. And then it's a really nice way for everyone to remember the mom to be. And then when she goes into labor, everyone has their candles and their bracelets, and we're all united, sending the same sorts of energies towards the mom. And I really feel that it helps lift them up. Every single time I've done one, the mom leaves feeling just elevated and on another level. And I have done one, I got my best friend to do one for me because I really wanted one. So I gave her all the information. I was like, can you do it, please? And I ended up doing it about 5 days before I went to labor. And I was really nervous for my third. And then I just felt like, okay, I can do this. I've got this, just because I was surrounded by the support of my closest friends and family. They don't have to be big. I've done 3 of them where there's 4 people, me, myself being one of the people. It doesn't matter about the size. It just matters about the energies created and mom to be feeling loved and supported. After the last activity, I just do a small closing, thanking everybody for coming, wishing mom to be the best with her delivery, and letting her know that we are all there to support her in any way that we can. And that concludes it. I usually start it with a potluck dinner, and then we go into this, and then we just hang out and have like snacks and drinks after. COVID's a different situation, but that's that. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
That's so wonderful, Jackie. Thank you for sharing that information. I didn't know all that was entailed with it, and it sounds wonderful. It sounds like if you were expecting a baby, you would feel very loved and cared for with all of those things. So
Definitely.
thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
So our next presenter is Zainab Asmath, our postpartum doula on our team. She loves writing letters to mail to her loved ones, has always been drawn to caregiving roles. And her favorite saying is, "You can't pour from an empty cup." Don't we know that? And I am so excited to hear about this sort of celebration. So take it away.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Zainab, a postpartum doula on the team. And today I'll be talking about not only Akika, but 7 things that Islam or Muslim families would do to welcome the baby. So I do have to say that Islam is such a religion that has so many different cultures, because any part from wherever you are, you might celebrate a little bit differently. So this is more Islamic guidelines and recommendations. So depending on the culture you fall into or what area you grew up in, it might look a little bit different, and they customize towards that. So Akika is one of the welcoming ceremonies. So Muslims don't generally have a baby shower before the baby's born. We do have a lot of things that Jackie mentioned, like mother's blessings. So a lot of prayers, a lot of positive affirmations for the mom. And the mom's status is so high in Islam. So it's a lot of, there's so many things to just be said about that. But today I'm going to focus about the children welcoming the baby. So in Islam, children are a great blessings. So Muslims usually do glad tidings. So I'm going to read the English version, the translation of it. So if a mom or a family or a parent is expecting a child, or right after the child is born, their other families or friends might say, "May Allah is God in Arabic. So may Allah bless you with this gift to you, and may the child reach the maturity of years, and may you be granted its righteousness." And in reply to that, the family might respond, "May Allah bless you and shower this blessing upon you, and may Allah reward you well and bestow upon you its like and reward you abundantly." So that's a saying that across all over the world, any Muslims would say that in Arabic or in their own languages. There are 7 or 6 other welcoming traditions that they do. So Akika is one of them. And Akika is basically to sacrifice an animal on behalf of the child and feed it to the poor. A portion might be for your family, and a portion might be for your extended relatives and friends, and a portion might be for the poor. So just to show gratitude to God for this blessing in your life, and to invite the society to be part of that celebration. So that can be done. So at least in the Western world, it's given that responsibility to maybe a butcher or someone. You might send the money off, and then they would do that on your behalf. And then you can create the meal and you can celebrate it with the family. Other time you might give the money to the poor or in your local community, things like that. So on top of Akika as well, when the baby is born, the baby might be welcomed to the world with the call of prayer. So a lot of families at the hospital, or maybe the partner might do this, or an elder might do it in the family, to do the call of prayer in the right ear of the baby. So this is the call of prayer that we do 5 times a day. So it's just to show that the first words that the baby hear are like the monotheistic, because Islam is a monotheism religion. So it's to show that the oneness of God. So it's to welcome the child that way. Another right of the child is the naming of the child. It's a huge right upon the child to choose a good name. You know, we say that if they don't have a good name, you'll be questioned by God, because it's the right of the child. They didn't get to choose a name. So it's very important so mothers and families would spend so much time choosing a name that suits the child, that has a good meaning, and so that the child can have that blessing. Another right as well is the technique. So technique is basically chewing a piece of date and rubbing the date in the gums of the child, just to kind of kickstart the immune system as well. And this was done from the beginning of Islam, and as well as a lot of Arab traditions go to do this. So a lot of Muslims follow that, and they try to imitate that here, and they would do that as well. So dates are a huge thing for both pregnant women as well as for the baby right after. And here one of the other rights is that shaving the hair of the baby and weighing that amount in either silver or gold, and to give that amount in charity as well. So you can see the pattern that charity is a huge thing in Islam. So we try to honor that in all of this. So we have also circumcision for the males. So Islam is a religion that practices circumcision. It's highly recommended. So that's something a family may choose to do. And that's it. I think those are the 7 things. And we also have, I'm just reading my notes just in case I don't forget anything. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. And so we do, just to kind of go back to Jackie's point about mother's blessing. So in Islam, we do have a lot of supplications. We call it du'as or prayers that we send out to the mother. We make a lot of, for her to be prepared for labor. We also say that in different times in our life or different moments, certain prayers are accepted highly. So a mother going into labor, her prayers are answered. So a lot of people would also ask her, can you pray this for me and this and this? Because she's in labor and that pain is so intense that we say that her prayers answered quickly. So in Islam, everything has a right. So the mother's right is very high up there, as well as the child. So it's very important for, we say that when people are family planning, to read all the rights of the child and to make sure that the child deserves all that right. And we fulfill that, because the parents will be questioned about that as well. Yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, you can always ask me.
Wow, it's so interesting. And I've been to births where the prayer was done for the baby, and it's such a nice moment to see. Usually it's the father leaning so close to the baby and just sharing this beautiful moment together. So it's always really nice. And then one thing, maybe I missed it, but the shaving of the head and giving the weight of the hair to charity was such an interesting thing that I learned too, when you go to see a baby and they have their head shaved. So yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing all of that. So interesting to learn all of the cultures around the world and how we celebrate, and how there's still so many similarities, even though there's also a little bit of differences too. All right, so our last speaker tonight is Sarah Barnett, who is a postpartum doula on our team. She is a foodie. I found out that she was a chef in a past life. I am waiting for my fancy meal to be made one day, Sarah. Hint, hint.
For sure.
Has 3 young boys of her own. Busy, and one day at a time is her favorite saying, which, yep, it's the only way to get through it. So Sarah, take it away and tell us about more traditional baby showers, but how we can make them fun.
Yes, for sure. So yeah, I will be covering the typical, I guess, Canadian baby shower. And it kind of self-explanatory. The word shower is meant that you're going to gather together to shower the mom and the baby with gifts. Typically, this does happen around the third trimester, but there's also an event called, I believe it's called a sip and see, which is where you can have a similar idea, a little less pressure, and you can, it's kind of more like a drop-in baby shower where once baby arrives, there's a window of time and then you can kind of come and see the baby. But as far as the typical baby shower, you may see gifts, you know, baby essentials, diapers, baby clothes. Normally, I find that the guests want to bring a really cute outfit for the baby, but those don't end up being that useful at the end of the day. So I think all of us here would recommend that a good gift would be, you know, a gift certificate for a postpartum doula, or you know, paying for the parents to have a session with a lactation consultant. You know, there's also freezer meals like that each guest can bring, you know, things like that that are really practical, that may not be as fun, but maybe you could combine, you know, the fun gifts like classic baby books with some of these things as well. Those are kind of just my ideas, but I think those are kind of becoming a little more popular these days, as we're noticing like the onesie gifts just aren't cutting it, or the baby crib sheets or whatever it is. Yeah, so it's basically a gathering with family and friends. The one thing to keep in mind is that the only person who really shouldn't be planning this event is the parents to be. So don't let them host it. Don't let them plan it. Maybe ask them who they want to be there. Typically it is more the female family members, but these days it really can be anyone. It's just a party. So whoever the parents or the mom feels comfortable being there is a great thing to keep in mind if you are planning one. And there's all types of fun games. There's guessing the baby's due date, and whoever gets the closest after wins a prize. Or there is competitions who, like between the two expectant parents, who can put on a baby diaper faster onto a doll. Or I've even seen 2 baby bottles and they were filled up with apple juice, and then 2 of the guests had to chug to see who would be able to drink the apple juice the fastest. So anyway, all this to say is it's kind of just a fun party games, fun experience to celebrate. And that is the most important part, that we're there to celebrate a new life. We're there to pass on encouragement, just like some of these other, the mother blessing circle. I've often seen that it either can be in a circle, or you know, you can write little words of encouragement or wisdom from the older generation, or from friends or family that have already had children, little tips and tricks that helps them on their parenting journey. And then often the host will compile these into a little book to give to the parents as a gift, and then they can reference that anytime that they need. And it's just really nice to have all that really nice information and blessings from family and friends. And then most importantly, in my opinion, there's always food, and you can be creative. You can have themes, or normally it's just like snacky foods, but you can have fun baby shower cakes or cupcakes. Yeah, so that's pretty much the rundown. And it's basically just a party to celebrate and have fun.
Yeah, it's awesome to understand what the words are, right? Like we say baby shower all the time, but you know, to shower the new parents with love and support, and you know, things that hopefully they'll find helpful for baby. And then meet the baby parties, or the sip and, what'd you say?
It's called a sip and see.
Oh, sip and see. Yeah. So I always liked those, because then you can see the baby. So now I don't know if we have any questions. We can go into our breakout rooms. Tracy, I'm not sure if you saw my message, but I was curious if you were looking for our breakout rooms. I can put you in a room with some of our doulas.
Hi, yes, I would be interested. I mean, I have a few questions. So whether you want to do it here or in the breakout rooms, however it is, works for me.
Okay. Well, why don't you ask some of your questions and then we can see if it's a breakout
Okay.
question or we'll just jump in.
Okay. Okay. So I had a few questions. I think they're more administrative in terms of like, when, because I'm 30 days from my due date. And I wanted to know like what's the process? Like so I'm booked for a postpartum doula. We've already registered and everything. Now when it comes to that day, and I know it's going to be very unpredictable, I can't, although I have a due date, I know that it won't be on the same day. But when it does happen, how do we go about booking the doula, asking for the doula to come home? Because also we're first time parents, we would like help maybe on the first day itself.
For sure.
So because when we get the baby home, we wouldn't really know what to do. And so it'd be nice to have somebody home maybe within the first few hours that we get the baby, right?
Yeah.
So
You're
what that process is, and I think that's more of an administrative question.
Yeah, so you're going to have a postpartum planning session with our care team, and that is going to go through everything that you need to know to help you understand how to get in touch with us and planning for your support and getting to know a little bit more about what you're looking for. So then the team members can have that information when they come to support you.
Okay. And when we do book the doula, do we get, I mean, is it going to be chosen randomly in terms of like who's available?
Yes, it's who is available and in your area. And that's kind of how our doulas are assigned.
Okay. And would it be the same doula because I've booked it for 100 hours. So would it be the same doula for those 100 hours, or is there a chance that there would be different doulas?
There could be different doulas. It depends on how much support you want, how much notice we have, the availability of the doula, also different factors. And that's one of the great things about working as a team is because it's so unpredictable, it would be hard if you were just relying on one person. But as we have a team, you can have your baby and just let us know what you're looking for, and we can put that support in place.
Okay, perfect.
So
Also now just to understand how the doula helps us when they come home. So like basic things like I know that the doulas help with the mother and the baby, but like basic things like how do we bathe the baby, or about breastfeeding or sleeping, or just taking like basic things like that. Would the doula be helping us with that?
Absolutely. So what I think would be really helpful, Tracy, is why don't I put you in a breakout room and I send some doulas in to say hello, and they can share with you some of the stuff that they love doing as doulas, and you'll probably get a better sense. And always schedule a call with the office if there's things that you wanted to clarify.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay,
we can do that. Yeah.
I'll send you off, and then you will have doulas join you momentarily.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we have only one person